coming. Did you see it out there? It was an amazing morning. Fog rolling in. Welcome back. Thanks for coming. It's the Hotline Show. It's the 22nd Hotline Show. And today's date is July 28th, 2024. I was up at an apple orchard earlier this week. 1,000 acres, tons of apple trees. They also now grow weed. So they make apple stuff, but then also weed stuff. And, they give it to me and I do it. I can't help myself. So I've been vaping and, gummying. And I probably shouldn't do as much as I have been. There's also CBG, cans, seltzer, so much stuff. It's just, I don't know how these operations work. It's massive. I mean, I was there for an article for a business magazine. So maybe we'll see and we'll read about it and we'll learn. Just the photographer. What else is going on? Kamala. I'm pilled. I'm in. I don't even think this election's going to be close, to be honest. It was looking incredibly bleak. And now I can breathe. We can care about things in the future again. So fingers crossed on this. I mean, we're Democrats. We're going to run scared. It's going to be closer than it should be, maybe. And we know something awful will happen one way or another. I don't mean violence. I just mean something's going to come up and it's going to be a scandal and October surprise, all that kind of bullshit. There's going to be some funny business. But I think we've been waiting for this moment for quite some time, and we'll see. I'm not going to try to make political predictions, but my prediction is it's going to be a blowout. This might be embarrassing in the future, but maybe not. I'm right 50% of the time. Lastly, before we get into it, to anyone who ordered the second edition of the Protect the Network zine, thank you so much. I know one of you used our secret YouTube code, so thank you for that. Thank you for watching and paying attention. I think there might always be a special YouTube code if you use my shop, just YouTube, for a discount. So that was cool. I mean, that sold out. They'll be going out next week. I got a lot of work to do on that, so we'll get into that soon, shipping those out. It's fun to sell all that stuff, but then, it's only half the job. Now I got to get into pack as shipping mode. That's a lot of stuff. Here we are, Hotline Show. If you don't know, people call the number. It's in the description below. They leave a message. They ask me a question. It can be about anything. Usually it's about photography because I'm a photographer. I think that's what most people know me as. You might be wondering, why would anyone call me and ask a question? Great question. No one's called and asked that one. I don't know. I mean, I've done a few things. I've had a career. I have a little bit of experience. It's funny though, because maybe it's a little more than a little experience. Just making photographs professionally for over 20 years. Obviously, there are people who've done it much longer than I have. And, there's only so much perspective I have on certain things. I have shot campaigns for some of the biggest brands in the world. I mean, that's one thing I've done. I've also shown my work in galleries and museums around the world. That's another thing I've done, but not a lot. A modest amount of all of that stuff. And, I don't think I'm an expert necessarily. I've just seen a few things. So I got something on my nose. Sorry. That's why people call, and I appreciate it. A lot of people know a lot of what I've done over the years, and it's flattering in so many ways because, we just make stuff. Obviously, we want an audience. Do we know who it's reaching? Not necessarily. How long can you pay attention? How long can you stay with someone before getting sick of them and moving on? I mean, I've followed and loved and been fans of so many people over the years, and then I just stopped because I've moved on to someone else. I assume that's happened to a lot. Maybe people are new And that's cool because then I have like this catalog of stuff. You could go back and be like, oh, that was okay. Oh, that one sucked. And it's true. It's highs and lows, ups and downs, good and bad. We do it all here. And that's the perspective I bring when I'm answering your questions. So we're going to get into it. We're going to go to the first question right now, which is actually a video call. Let's check this out.
Hey there. Hey, this is Shitty Joe. Got a question for Shitty Noah, so I'll sit here and wait for a minute so Shitty Noah gets ready.
This question's for Shitty Noah, not even for me. Let's see if Shitty Noah's around. Hold on.
Yeah, no, I got it. Let me hear the question.
All right, here we go. This question is for Shitty Noah.
Hey, what's up, Shitty Noah? This is Shitty Joe. Question is, what's up with all these creatives wanting to do work for such big prices nowadays? Us in the trades, man, we do high quality work for very little money, and we always get the job done. And we ask for what we need to get done, and we get it done, just like you did. So what's up with these creatives nowadays thinking they can charge an arm and a leg for just creative work? They're not using their hands or anything, are they? So that's my question for you. Keep up the good work. Hope to see more of you around. Bye.
Shitty Joe, good to hear from you, my man. Great question about the creatives. Creatives are full of shit. Sit on their computer all day long, looking at YouTube, Tumblr, getting inspired, just stealing ideas, packaging it up with some art school speak, selling it to a client, then they can charge a lot of money. Ridiculous. Yeah, like you said, we work with our hands, we know power tools, we just know how to do things right, in the right way. We don't need fame, we don't need fortune, we just want to make a good quality product. Yeah, we could charge more money, it's true. But I don't know about you, Shitty Joe, but me, when I show up at a new person's house and I see a nice car in the garage, it's going to be 25% more money. 100%. These people don't know how to do shit. Can't fix a leak in their...
Whoa, I'm cutting this part right now.
I'm not saying I do that all the time, but we can. And guess what? AI about to take all of their jobs, all these creative jobs. The machine's going to do it. Then what? We're the kings. So yeah, maybe we haven't been charging enough for a long time, but the tables are about to turn, and we're the ones holding the ball and the power. Because they need us more than we need them. And I don't think they know that yet. Anyway, Shitty Joe, I want to hear from you again, so call back. Noah, take it away.
Shitty Noah, what an asshole, seriously. I'm kind of thinking if he overcharged me. Did he rip me off on that last job? Shitty Joe, thanks for that call. Yeah, I mean, wow, Shitty Noah sucks a lot. But I will say, even though we don't see eye to eye on a lot of things, he does do good work. And, you know, it's hard to get anyone to even show up. So it's good that he does. I mean, and sometimes he was building me a deck once, and I kept going up to him and I was like, you're an artist, man. You're an artist. The craft, like how well you're putting this together, you're crafting it. And he was like, I'm not an artist. I was like, no, man, you're an artist. This is impressive stuff. Didn't want to take credit for that. And I don't understand that. It's crafts guys, like, I don't know. They just think it's necessary. They don't think it's soulful necessarily. And I think that's a shame.
Hi, Noah. My name is Josh. I'm calling from Toronto, Canada, with a question that's a photography question, but really a creative process question. I love taking pictures. It's not my job, it's my hobby. I especially like wildlife, songbirds. I am a man in his mid-40s, so I am obligated genetically to take pictures of songbirds, I think. But what has been getting me lately is that I'll go out and take pictures and have a great time and really feel like I've captured something, come home, and then not like any of the pictures that I've taken. Okay. But I was I don't delete anything. So I was going back through a bunch of pictures that I'd taken previously and discovered that actually I liked a lot of them far more now than I did back when I took them. So my question to you is, do you need a period of time between when you've shot something and when you review it to really appreciate it? Can you look at something you've shot on the computer as soon as you get home, the big screen, and appreciate it? Or do you need that space of time? Because now this discovery, if you will, has me rethinking everything I've ever shot. Do I need to go back and look through every picture I ever shot, because actually many of them are a lot better than I thought they were? Does that happen to you? Is that just me? Is that just me? Anyway, love the Hotline show. Can't wait to hear from you. Thanks a lot, Noah. Talk again soon. Bye-bye.
Josh from Toronto, thank you for that call. Really good stuff in there. Lots to go over. First things first, when you go out shooting wildlife, birds, songbirds, that's great. I'm into it. I love it. I don't know. 99.9% of those photos are going to be garbage. That's just a thing. It just is. Like bird photography, obviously it can be amazing sometimes, rare bird, perfect light, certain situations, but really mostly ultimately super generic and not all that compelling, but exciting and fun. And I don't know, it's just a great challenge for a photographer to go out there and get some work. And it's part of the whole thing is that journey and the experience. Do you walk away with anything good? I don't know, maybe for you, probably not for many other people, but it's that challenge that really keeps you going, especially in the wildlife photography game, I think. Now, when it comes to the quality of the photo over time and whether or not it gets better over time or this is really interesting. And I mean, I think I've talked about it in the past about the curve of photographic interestingness, where a photograph the day you take it in this day and age, and obviously with certain exceptions, but the day you take it, it's the most interesting it's going to get for quite some time. So that's why I do think it's important to photograph something, work on it immediately, get into it. And certainly I'll do a shoot. I'll come back. I'll look at my edit. I'll be like, oh shit, I get really excited. I love what I did. And then I try to get it done and wrapped up as soon as I possibly can. The longer I sit on it, and I think this is true about most photographs that we take now in this day and age, longer you wait, the less and less interesting it's going to get. I'll put up the graph really quick. Hopefully I can find it. But basically it's that curve, and it's just like over the next couple of years, it's just going to be not that interesting. Then, I don't know what it is, six years later, it starts getting progressively more and more interesting. That line keeps coming up. 10 years, we're almost as interesting as the day that we took it. And then 10 years plus, it's just going to start getting exponentially more interesting as time goes on. It's like a fine wine of sorts, where just over time, a photograph, once you give it enough time, is interesting, because in many ways a photograph is a historical document. So something in a year, who cares, it's too close. 10 years, wow, interesting. 20 years, fascinating. 30, and it just gets more and more. And obviously, like, technology will change the way you processed it, which then comes into the idea of like revisiting and reworking photographs. And I think it's fair to go back and sort of remaster your work. I've tried doing this with some of my stuff, and it's funny, the best photos, the ones that like from that particular era in my career, like let's say 10 years ago, what I did and how I processed it and how I finished it, I don't really like to mess with it too much. Like, I feel like what I did at that time holds true and stays correct. I wouldn't go back in there and necessarily adjust the colors or anything. It's not to say going back through those raw files and trying to find things that maybe you skipped over because you were specifically looking for something different, and then you see something in that edit and you find a photo that you never really loved at the time and it becomes something new. That's great. that's something you should do. And yeah, if you have an archive, start digging. I mean, I've been digging through my archive lately too. I have mixed emotions about it. I feel like I see so much missed opportunity in so much of my old work. And just, when you start seeing people and relationships and friends, I think it can get sad really fast. So again, of course, it just sort of depends on what we're looking for in that edit. But man, my archive runs so deep, and like I've done so many projects and been so many places that once you start digging in, you can end up in a hole. But definitely worth going into. Thanks for that call, Josh. I appreciate it. Love hearing from Canadians. Thank you so much. Next caller.
Hey, Noah. It's Deborah from Louisville, Texas. In one of your recent newsletters, you mentioned that the photography workshop you were going to lead got canceled, and you seemed okay with that. So I was thinking and have a few questions. Feel free to answer any or none of them. I'm wondering how you decided to book that gig, and how did you feel when it fell through? And what do you think are the important, qualities for a workshop leader to bring to those kind of events? My sense is that it's pretty different from like a traditional school setting, so you're not exactly a teacher, and the attendees aren't exactly students. So like if it had happened, or if you've done something like it in the past, as the leader, what do you think it's important to focus on? I'm eager to hear your thoughts. Thanks.
Deborah from Louisville, Texas. Thank you for that call. You're right. I was going to do a workshop at the Catskill Arts Space, which is a gallery museum space in Livingston Manor, which is about 50 minutes north of where I live. I'm friends with the director there. I've done 2 shows there. I photographed the space, and Sally, the director of the gallery museum, I don't know how they describe themselves, the art space, for the New York Times. So, we just have a relationship over the years, and we're friendly, and they do classes. And I don't know, I might have suggested it to her as something we do a while ago, and she was super excited to have me try to host a class. And we actually announced one early spring, and only like 3 people signed up for that. So we had to cancel it. And then we thought we'd try it again in the summer, and then nobody did. And, maybe it's just not something that people are interested in. It's a sparsely populated area. I think it was only going to be $120 for 4 classes. So I don't know, maybe not worth it. Maybe that's a lot too much, but it was going to be like 4 Sundays for a couple of hours each. And I sort of have had like a rough outline of things we were going to talk about. I wanted to collectively get together with people and talk about photo. Like just have it be like almost photo therapy session. I mean, I sort of build it as a existential sort of what's the point of photography. So I think it would have been a lot of me talking about what I've done in my career, and why I photograph, like not just professionally, but for my artwork and for fun. So we were going to get into that. And then I was hoping to bring it into the class so we could, hear from other people and their experiences and look at work and things like that. I never got too deep into my syllabus. I sort of had an outline, but I was waiting for the class to be a go before I wanted to spend too much time working on it. But I think it was going to be good in my mind, but no one's around. No one wanted to do it. It's fine. I sort of had a feeling that would happen, so I wasn't incredibly disappointed, even though they were paying and it was going to be nice, like fair amount for me. So that sucks. Sort of like losing a job. What else? I think that's the bulk of it. Oh, what do people look for in that? I don't know. I think, well, that might be a thing. It's like, do people like me or know who I am enough to want to visit? I think the ones that I've gone to is like someone who I like or respect or just want to hear their point of view, just go hear them talk. It's true though. Maybe I wouldn't have done it over 4 weeks. Like maybe it just needed to be one time. In the future, might try it again. I don't know. But it's also kind of funny to me that no one showed up. It's just like perfect. But I have that kind of attitude. Thank you, Deborah. Next caller.
Hey, Noah. This is Bill. I'm on my bicycle in New York City. First time caller. Hey, big fan of your work. Also a big fan of Burnt and Hillebecker, their work, and obviously see influences of theirs in your work. I just wondered if you could speak about the Beckers and perhaps any other influences that you want to talk about. Be really interested in hearing about that. Keep up the good work. Thanks.
Bill from Brooklyn, riding his bike. Thank you. Hope you're safe. Is that safe to do? Were you watching also? Yeah, the Beckers. Well, we've talked about the Beckers actually before. Peter from Germany called. I don't know if he saw that I was at the museum. No, not the Museum of Modern Art. The Met, the Metropolitan Museum of Art. They had a retrospective show of their work last year or something. I went. It was really great. I think with the Beckers, it's really nice. I mean, that's like formal German photography, very, very precise, very, very German. The prints, really great. I think seeing a show like that is a lot about seeing the craft of photography. The tones in their prints is very special. That's photography, right? Their work in terms of inspiring me, not so much, but it's funny because when I was in college in art school, the chair of the photography department, he looked at my work back then and was like, you should learn about the Beckers. So he saw it in what I was doing back then. It was independent of knowing of their work, but he suggested I learn about it. And yeah, there are people who do sort of like photograph the same thing over and over again. In this case, like water towers or like machine farm grain silos, things of that nature, power lines. They're super influential photographers. It's funny though, because it's not like I'm like a huge fan. I wouldn't necessarily like wear a Becker t-shirt, you know, like I don't know. Well, I did go to their concert, their show, but, and I did buy merch. So maybe I am a big fan of theirs. I don't really have their work in my head when I'm making work. That's one of the things. As much as I appreciate their work, I don't think they're a big influence in my mind. I busted out these 3 books. I would say first, like Andres Gursky, another German photographer, Philip Lorca de Corsia, and Nadav Kander are probably like my 3 top, in the top 10. And I don't know if I'm going to get too into it. I know some people have requested that I sort of go through books and stuff, and I don't know, it's just time consuming, and maybe we'll do it eventually. But I find like these guys' work just lives in my mind, and there's like pictures and certain compositions that like just really truly resonate with me, or did in the past, and just stuck with me. And certainly like Philip Lorca de Corsia, there's something about his like mix of reality and constructed reality that really resonates with me. I like the idea that photography isn't necessarily truth, and you can mix it up and modify it a little bit to sort of tell a story that you want to do. And to me, he is like the goat of that. Nadav, I just love all of these people, like their compositions, their landscape compositions to me are just perfect. They're just so good. It's just so good. Almost every picture. I mean, I think in Philip's first book, there's like good and bad, but the good ones are so good. But he's done a lot of different projects over the years, so depends. I mean, what's fun about artists, and especially photographers, and I don't know who's doing it now. Maybe I've just fallen out of like caring or like looking into it. I mean, I guess there's Alex Soth now who like is always putting out new books, new albums, right, of work. Are these guys still doing it? I don't know. Do people care anymore? I don't know. Maybe. I'm just not paying attention. I'm into other things. But I love these particular artists and like follow them, even though like most people, you get a little older, that stuff isn't as good for whatever reason. Sometimes the early stuff is the best stuff. I don't even think DeCourser shoots anymore. I don't know. There's a lot though. I got tons of books, and some are good, some are bad. Photo books are hard, man. So few that are like really good or like really resonate. I feel like I've become someone who just likes singles, just one photo. It's just like they did that one photo. That's it. I don't need the story. I just love that photo. Depends. Bill, thank you for that call. Last caller, Peter from Germany.
Hello, Noah. It's Peter from Germany again. Happy Friday. Okay, some time ago, I asked you about your bed mounts project. And today I want to ask you about your other bed-related project. I do not know what it's called, but you took photos of people making love. It was moving and quite beautiful. What's the story? Were you in the room, or was it just the camera? Was it difficult to get people to agree to it? What did you learn from this project? Okay, thank you.
Peter from Germany, thank you for the call again. Always good to hear from you. Yeah, you're referring to my project I called Internet Sex. This is a photo right here. And this one, I only did, here's another one. I only did, I don't know, there's like 8 of them total. It's me. It's not like I've hired people or found people. Those are all photos I'm involved with. I'm in those pictures. So it's true. I mean, despite what the rumors have said, I've had sex like at least 5 times. And I took these photos while doing it. Some guy, let me play this video some guy made about the project. Have you seen this? I'm putting it up right here.
This photo series is called Internet Sex. The series by Noah Kalina consists of long exposure photographs of couples being intimate and shows everything and nothing all at once. You get the idea without the images being graphic. Shock doesn't feel like the point here. But then every other photograph shows just a laptop, illuminating similar scenes, no long exposure, or at least no human presence to indicate one. Could this symbolize that although a human is actually there, there's no partner to create dramatic sweeping movements with, and the need for a long exposure becomes redundant, which feels like a visual metaphor for the way sex and pornography is usually consumed through the internet. It's not usually a shared experience. It's solitary, lonely, almost ghostly. Actual physical intimacy completely disappears, and you with it.
All right. I mean, I think that describes it better than I would have said it, right? I wish I played it so I could remember, but I'm doing it after the fact, so can't really respond to it. But I remember that being good and interesting and thought-provoking. And that worked, right? We'll see. One time it was going to be the cover of New York Magazine. Like they commissioned me to do one for their sex issue, but then they killed it the last hour. They picked a different photo instead of mine. It was very disappointing. I'll cut that part out. I'm going to cut this part out too. I'm going to cut this part. I just cut a whole bunch out. That all came together though, right? Yeah, it's funny. I've done, that was so long that those pictures, and they still end up on the internet and on Instagram, people share it. And I know other people do similar things, and then I get tagged into those when that happens. That happens, whatever. I don't know if I was the first one to do it. There's one other person that like either my project gets posted by one of those accounts or his, and then people just tag me in it. And I'm like, I don't know. Doesn't matter to me. So that's that project. I know people have tried to interview me about it. I just don't really have all that much to say about it. Just seems like ancient history at this point, but good times. I did a lot of wild stuff back in the day. Always making pictures. that is the Hotline show. There were a bunch of calls this week and I couldn't get to them all. I'm going to bank them and hopefully keep calling, ask anything, politics. We're gonna pivot, right? Or did you come here just for my takes on photography? I don't know. Is it all connected one way or another? Numbers below, do the stuff, like, subscribe, call the hotline, subscribe to my newsletter. We'll see you next week, maybe. I do have a lot going on, but I don't want to disappoint you. I don't want to disappoint myself. You know, I did a whole unboxing video for my printer, and I killed it. And maybe I'll put that out instead. I'll re-edit it. We'll see. There's stuff. We're brewing lots of stuff. It's a fucking mess in here right now because I got so many things going on. I'm hoping come August, things chill out a little more and then we can focus. Till then, thank you so much. See you later.